Trump said Governor Walz didn't call in the National Guard during the 2020 BLM protests. Walz did. Donald Trump. Statement: During the 2020 Minnesota riots after George Floyd's murder, Governor Tim Walz didn't call in the National Guard, so I sent in the National Guard to save Minneapolis. Former President Donald Trump said during a recent Minnesota rally that it was he, not Governor Tim Walz, who ordered the National Guard to respond to Minneapolis riots in 2020. Every voter in Minnesota needs to know that when the violent mobs of anarchists and looters and Marxists came to burn down Minneapolis 4 years ago, remember me? Trump said at his July 27 St. Cloud rally. I couldn't get your governor to act. He's supposed to call in the National Guard or the Army and he didn't do it. I couldn't get your governor. So, I sent in the National Guard to save Minneapolis. CNN and WCCO-TV News, a CBS affiliate in Minnesota, debunked a similar Trump statement in 2020. We found that Walz called in the National Guard hours before Trump contacted him, but Walz has faced criticism about his response's timing. Walz sent in the National Guard. George Floyd was murdered by a Minneapolis police officer on May 25, 2020. Protests, some peaceful and some violent, erupted soon after video of his death went viral. The Harris-Walz campaign did not respond on record to our request for information. Walz's governor's office also did not respond to PolitiFact's email asking about Trump's claim. However, Walz spokesperson Teddy Chen wrote in a statement to CNN in 2020 that Walz activated the Minnesota National Guard at the request of the mayors of Minneapolis and St. Paul, before he talked to the White House. Chen told CNN that Walz was in touch with Trump administration officials during the unrest, including Defense Secretary Mark Esper and Joint Chiefs of Staff Chairman U.S. Army General Mark Milley. But Walz was the one who put forward the plans for the use of the Guard, he said. WCCO-TV wrote a timeline of Walz's 2020 actions. At 4:04 p.m. Central Standard Time on May 28 in Minnesota, Walz issued an executive order activating the Minnesota National Guard to allow for personnel and equipment to support emergency operations. Walz wrote that feelings of anguish, anger, and disillusionment are justified. However, people engaged in unlawful and dangerous activity, including arson, rioting, and looting, were threatening public safety. Following Walz's order, Minnesota National Guard Major General John Jensen said in a social media post at 4:13 p.m., "We are ready and prepared to answer the governor's request. We are currently in the process of assigning and preparing units to respond." At 10 p.m., Minneapolis police abandoned the department's 3rd precinct, which was overtaken and burned. At 10:30 p.m., May 28, Trump watched the scene on television and called Walz, offering to send in the military. WCCO-TV wrote, "We have activated more than 500 soldiers to St. Paul, Minneapolis and surrounding communities," the Minnesota National Guard wrote at 10:41 p.m. May 28 in a social post. "Our mission is to protect life, preserve property and exercise the right to peacefully demonstrate. A key objective is to ensure fire departments are able to respond to calls." On May 29, Walz told reporters that he had spoken to Trump the night before. "At that point in time, it was in the process of where I said that we were going to assume control of this, that it was unnecessary," he said. Trump, Walz said, had pledged his support in terms of anything we need in terms of supplies to get to us.